What is up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Podcast with Paul, bringing you the latest on Survivor 34 Game Changers. Episode 6, I believe it's on now. And oh my God, incredible episode today. Again, I'm by myself, so you know what? I'll probably be by myself for a lot longer than this. So expect this from now on. But let's jump right into the episode because that's what everyone cares about. So we just came out of our last tribal council where essentially Sandra was on the top of that tribe. It was the Nuku tribe where they got out JT. And JT was trying to get out Michaela at the time. And they had a really funny scene with that, of course, you all remember. And it was amusing. And it seemed like things were kind of set in stone there. But the start of this episode, we have a huge switch. And thank God that we do, because I love tribe switches, okay? One thing that I love in this game is tribe switches. It switches everything around. The game gets stale sometimes, And that's what the tribe switches do. They really fix it up for you. They really get you in these new scenarios with these new people together. And I think in a game-changing season, having everyone interact with each other at some point is really important. And most people at this point who are still in the game have been on the same tribe. Well, a lot of them have. More than most seasons at this point. So let's jump into how the tribes were switched up. So it was switched from 3 tribes to 2 tribes. So no more me switching up to Vua and Vatua. Thank God. I hated that green tribe, not for the people on it. I love the people on it. I just can never remember Tavua or Vatua. But anyway, let's talk about the new Nuku tribe first, since that seems to be like the key to this episode. So we have Andrea, we have Zeke, we have Jeff Varner, and Sandra from the original Mana tribe, and who were just on the Nuku tribe. And moved, well, I guess they didn't move. They stuck onto the Nuku tribe. And then we have Sarah, Ty, who was an original member of the Nuku tribe, but went to the Mana tribe. And we have Ozzy. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, Andrea, Sandra, Sarah, Zeke, Ozzy, Jeff, Ty. Yep, those 7. I'm thinking about Debbie in my head just because of the episode, but nonetheless. Okay, so those are the 7 right now. And as you guys can probably notice, the 3 that are probably in trouble right now are Sandra and Jeff, who were never with these people ever, and Ty, who was separated from them on the Mana tribe for a brief reprisal, basically. Because the rest of the 4 of them, Zeke, Sarah, Ozzy, and Andrea, they were originally on the Nuku, and then they were on Tavua, so they probably see themselves in a power position right now, and that makes a lot of sense to me. And the episode's mostly focused on them. But let's jump into the Mana tribe as well, the new Mana tribe. So we have Aubrey, who was originally a Mana tribe member, then moved to Nuku, and she was just on the bottom of her old Nuku tribe, so she's probably very excited right now. This was probably the best day in Aubrey's life, honestly. Then we have Brad Culpepper, bringing back with Sierra from the original. I forgot what original tribe they were on. I know they just came from the Mana tribe. I think the original tribe was Nuku. Let me double check that. All right, well, it doesn't matter that much. Okay, so yeah, we have Brad Culpepper and Sierra, who were together, basically. We also have Troy Zan, who was a lone wolf on the Tavua tribe, and he was originally a Mana tribe member, if I recall correctly. And he's by himself, basically. And that gets a little tricky. And we also have Haley, and did I mention Sari and Michaela? No, I don't think I did. And Sari and Michaela are also there. Okay, so that's the way our tribes are broken down. So let's talk a little bit about, I guess we'll jump into the Nuku tribe, a little bit about what's going on there. So basically, Sandra and Jeff Varner, they basically know that they're on the bottom of their tribe. But, Ty also doesn't feel like he's safe. But Zeke is basically talking to everyone. He's like, hey, listen, let's make sure we get Sandra out because we don't want her to win again, because that's what happens every single tribal council. Basically, people vote out bigger targets than her, and she slides her way into the end. Well, meanwhile, she's basically making all of these big strategies up. So Sandra has been like the best player, I think, this season so far, had the most influence in all the tribal councils, but she's also been to most of the tribal councils, which is also a big change from her. She doesn't usually do that in her in our older seasons. So she got to see a lot of tribal council this season so far. So yeah, so Zeke's talking about with his original Tavua tribe to get out Sandra. Zeke also comes up to Ty. He's like, listen, Ty, we're voting Sandra out. And Ty's like, yeah, that makes sense. I forgot to mention, Ty also found the immunity idol back when he was on the Mana tribe. So that clue he found it. And then right after that, he gets moved to the Nuku tribe, and he does the same thing with the same water well there with the water. And I guess I was wrong about that challenge thing last time. I have to thank one of our commenters for bringing that up to me last time. I'll thank you at the end of the episode specifically. But Ty also found the immunity idol on that. I'm sorry, I thought I had something on my hand for a second. And so Ty found a second immunity idol. So now he has 2 immunity idols. He's very powerful in this game. Seems like season 32 has been doing pretty well. By season 32, I basically just mean Ty, because I guess Aubrey got lucky today too. And so did Debbie. But, it is what it is. Okay, so let's jump into the Mana tribe. All right, and Zeke also basically plans to tell Jeff and Sandra that they're voting Ty out. Okay, so that's their plan. Mana tribe, they didn't really show the Mana tribe too much today. Basically, it was just Brad Culpepper and Troy Zan talking for a little bit. They were worried about, they're the only 2 guys in the tribe, by the way. So they're the only 2 guys. So they're afraid that it's going to be like a girls' alliance thing, which is possible. And Troy Zan has seen that on his old season. So he understands the problem, the possibility of that. So it's complicated. So Brad Culpepper wants to get together with Troy Zan, and they basically do. Okay, so they're basically good right now, honestly. Brad still seems like he's with Sierra. At this point, I think they might just have to bring in a 4th person. I don't know who that 4th's going to be, but Troy Zan also has an immunity idol, so maybe that could help. Who knows? And let's jump into our person on Exile Island. So Debbie, of all people, is sent to Exile Island, and this is a blessing and a curse for her. It's a blessing, for one thing, to be safe for this next vote. So she's safe for the next vote, which is fantastic. You always want to be safe in this game. More benefits. Exile Island ends up being a fucking ship with a ton of food. I mean, now I've had a lot of people correct me in the comment section below, but I don't think that's ever happened before. If my memory serves me right, I don't think that's ever happened before. So right, and the disadvantage obviously is that Debbie also doesn't have a chance to bond with her new tribe, or whatever that tribe would be. She's going to be on the losing tribe of the next challenge, but she doesn't get to that bonding experience that everyone else basically has their opportunity to get. So things are a little complicated for her right now, and I don't know, but she seems pretty confident, and she seemed pretty confident. So then they bring on this other twist, which is very, very interesting. And I don't think they've done this before either, although, again, memory could be woozing up in my head. But they brought on a previous survivor to give advice to Debbie. They brought back Cochran. So very exciting stuff here, but their conversation was basically on two different wavelengths, at least like the first half of it. So Debbie was like in awe because she was saying, "Oh, I'm a huge fan of him," like in her talks with us, and that's basically and who can blame her? Honestly, who can blame her? So Debbie's like getting all awestruck, and then Cochran's like, "Okay, I want to talk strategy with her. I want her to bounce ideas off my head. I want to know what her worries are." That's what he's telling us. But he's like, "I know that Debbie's very very self-confident, and so he's worried that might blind her in this game." And honestly, I think he came at the perfect time for her in this game. I think he came at just the perfect time. So basically, they have a conversation. It's basically just like, listen. She mentions the fight with Brad Culpepper. She's like, listen. I mean, he's like, listen. Try to mend the fences because things aren't always going to be hunky dory. Basically, you blew up on someone. Just make sure everything's okay. Just don't try not to be so confident about everything. Just acknowledge that it's okay to feel unsafe at certain points in the game. I mean, in 32, she was very confident at the time when she was voted out. She was pretty sure the votes were going another way, if I recall correctly. So she didn't think Aubrey would flip on her, and she did. So, and then that's basically the issue that Debbie has in this game with her self-confidence. She's too confident, and it's good to be confident in Survivor, but Cochran just made the best point ever. It's okay to be worried in the game if it means helping your game. You got to know when to talk to people at the right times. So that's basically it with Debbie. Until later. Let's jump into the immunity challenge. Actually, I think we'll jump into Nuku one more time. So Zeke talks to Jeff Varner, and their conversation was very, they were very close. It seemed like they got very close. It reminded me of how like Zeke bonded in 33 with Brad and Chris. I don't know, he has a good repertoire with the older guys. I've always noticed that about him. Zeke just knows how to talk. It might not even just be with like the older guys. It could just be in general. And that's just the opportunities we saw. So Zeke's a great talker. So he's basically talking to Varner. He's like, and they connect basically, and he says, "I want to work with him to us." Basically, it's after Sandra is out of the game because we need him. And honestly, great strategy. Jeff is told by Zeke that Ty is going home, so he's feeling safe. Well. And he's talking about how he wants to make Jerry for the first time. It's embarrassing that he's never made it before. I mean, we still at home still love Jeff Varner, despite his lack of getting to the jury. And it's looking like he probably will at this point for this season. So, hey, good for him. Okay, so let's jump into the immunity challenge now. So basically, this immunity challenge, relatively interesting. You start off in the water on a platform. You swim out to another platform, and what do you do? You cross like a rope or something, or one of those things. You cross across the water. Basically, you had to hold a rope and walk across another rope, basically with the water right under you. So you made it to that other side. You jump down. You swim a little more, and you collect these puzzle pieces, and you put them on like this sleigh. It's a fucking sleigh, Paul. It's a sleigh, damn it. Yes, sleigh, queen. Okay, so, oh God, I just fucking did that. Okay, so there's a sleigh. Basically, you have to get the puzzle pieces on, and they're in the water so you pick them up, you put them in, then you climb up, you push the sleigh, then you get the second set, and you push the sleigh, and then you have to, then every one of the tribe together has to tug the sleigh across the sand so they can finish their puzzle. Okay, so that's what happens. That's not what happens. That's the challenge. Basically what happens is Mana dominates. And honestly, it's expected because they didn't show Mana before that. They showed Mana one time before that, and then they showed Nuku like 3 times. So it's fairly obvious that Nuku was going to tribal council tonight. So Mana basically dominated that challenge. So Nuku gets sent. So basically, we have to watch Nuku debate over who to vote out. Now, it seems pretty straightforward. Ty's worried, of course. Ty's very paranoid. He's like, oh, no one's talking to me. Jeff thinks that Sandra's going home. Sandra has a talk with like the 4 Tavua people, the old Tavua people, and they're like, and she's like, listen, I'm a benefit to your game or whatever. Ty has a 32 crowd, season 32 crowd. If you think they're not going to get together at a merge, you'd be dead wrong. And yeah, I don't really know. I have no idea what if they would. Plausible, definitely a plausible thing to speculate about. So it was definitely a good play by Sandra. But the Tavua people, they all saw right through it. They're like, no, we're not doing that. We're all gonna vote Sandra, basically. But then Ty messes it up for himself. And again, I don't blame Ty so much for this. Well, you know, maybe I do, but he basically pulled inside Jeff, and I think it was it Ozzy? I think it was Ozzy, and he's like, listen, we're voting Sandra out. It's an easy vote. Little does he fucking know, Jeff was on a tribe with Sandra for this whole time. So of course he's gonna tell Sandra. So he's worried, and because he thought that Ty was going home at first. So that's it with that. And then the old Tavua tribe starts getting a little weary of Ty for like just bringing that up out of nowhere. He's like, why the hell would he do that? Okay, and then they jump into tribal council. And oh my God, what is with this season? And tell me down below if you remember a season that had as many crazy tribal councils in a row as this one. I know they've had crazy ones before, but as many in a row as this season. Because oh my God, crazy tribal council. It's mostly because of Ty. So basically, Sandra's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's me today, yada, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And then Sarah's like, yeah, I've switched. Sarah's like, it's switched between people in my head a few times. And that's when Ty gets a little nervous. He's like, wait, if it's switching and I didn't hear about any switch, that means it's switching to me, which is honestly which is actually a good logical thinking when you think about it. But I think it was Sarah actually just trying to bait Sandra into not using an immunity idol if she had one, or Jeff use it on Sandra if he had one. So I think that's what she was trying to do there. But Ty got crazy, and then Sandra's like, hey, Ty, listen, why don't you just vote with me? Give me a name. And then Ty whispers Ozzy into Sandra's ear, and then Sandra whispers Ozzy into Jeff Owner's ear. And then basically they only have 3 votes and there's 7 votes, and Ty's basically like, okay, well, I want to vote out Ozzy. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then Zeke's basically trying to switch the vote. So it's a live tribal council. So then Zeke tries to switch the vote to Ty. He's like, should we switch to Ty? Speculation, probably. And then they get to the vote. If I had to guess, they cut out a part right after that where they kind of showed a little more conversation happen, because there's no way everyone fucking said we're voting Ozzy and then everyone whispered Ty from the old Tavua tribe and then fucking the votes came out the way they did. So basically what happened was 2 votes for Ty. Ty did not use his immunity idol. He still has 2 immunity idols. Fantastic for him. And 4 votes for Sandra. Technically, I believe it was the 5 votes for Sandra. Pretty sure. And Sandra had her torch, for the first time by Jeff. And she was like, no, Jeff, don't do it. And, I love Sandra. She plays an incredible game. And she ran this season, the early game of this season. But that's the issue, though, with the way she played this time. The people who run the early season usually go home. You don't want to run the early season. That's not what you really want in this game. You want to run the end of the season with like a solid pack. So but she was forced to run this season because she went to tribal council in the early game way more than she ever did before. In fact, it was a rarity for them to go to tribal council in the early game. In our other 2 seasons, she got very fortunate in that regard. So, I mean, that's just what happened there. So Sandra played too hard, but she also had to play too hard because she was a big threat. So it's a lot of complications, basically. I would just say this: if they won challenges, more challenges, Sandra would still be here. That's it. Sandra would still be here if her tribe won more challenges, because she was like at almost all the tribal councils. And let me know down below if you agree with that assessment, because the way I just felt like she was at tribal council every single time. And when you're running the game so early, it puts a big target on your back. So that's where she went wrong. Although it's not entirely her fault, because she had to play. Because she was a 2-time winner. Okay, so I guess that's it. We'll end it off there. Thank you guys for watching this. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. It was a fantastic episode. Jeff was talking about tribal council. He's like, he was basically like, listen, I don't know what the hell just happened here, but I'm starting to get used to that. And I'm like, Jeff, boy, yeah, basically, that's basically what this season is shitting your pants at tribal council. Because, God, Ty just went nuts. Okay, so speculation for next episode. What I suspect is, so Debbie's on the 32 tribe, and I don't know what's going to happen there. They didn't show her in any of the scenes the next episode, but it looks like the Nuku tribe is going to have a little switch up when they're with their alliances. I think Varner might be in now, though that could just be what they're showing us. So who knows? The Mana tribe, I think we will see Brad Culpepper and Troyzan and Sierra bring in a 4th person. I think we can find that for them. I think they can. Let me know what you think down below. I'm going to predict that happens. If not next episode, if they don't win, if they don't lose the immunity challenge, then maybe the one after. So that's my prediction right now. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, peace.